I don't know if you could hear me, but I wanted to introduce myself if I could. I'm Butch Honeywell. I was the foreman of the jury at your trial there. And well, we found you guilty, Mr. Iscariot. I'm really sorry about that. Oh, I brought you a 12-pack of beer. Actually, I guess it's a 6-pack now, but here. I don't know if you drink beer, but it's good stuff, so I'll set it down right here, right beside you. Okay then? So I think I'm dead, Mr. Iscariot. And I'm a little concerned about that because I don't think my soul's ready for judgment. And nobody else has corroborated that I'm dead so far, so I just don't bring it up. The fact is that if this is a dream, then it's the longest damn dream I've ever endured. And really, I really miss my wife, Mr. Iscariot. It's okay if I tell you that. I remember I was with these two girls that night when I first seen my wife, Mr. Iscariot. It was at a party at Jimmy Rayburn's house because Jimmy's mama worked home until midnight, so he had the house to himself. And you know, me and these two girls, Susie Heller and Della Mae Robbins, we were just talking, smoking cigarettes out on the deck away from the party on Mrs. Rayburn's deck. I was depressed over something or other, probably because school was ending. Plus, I had just been to the school play. I played Tom in the Glass Menagerie. It was the first time I'd ever acted, and everyone said I was real good. But now the play was over and school was almost over. And for the part in the play, they had given me this real short haircut, like 1940s style, and my ears, Mr. Iscariot, I don't know if you can tell, but they sort of stick out a little bit, so I was just, with the short haircut and all, I was feeling self-conscious and dumb, and anyway, just not too sure. So I'm out there on the deck talking to Susie and Della Mae Robbins, and all of a sudden I see this girl inside at the party. She had, I guess, just arrived, and she had on a red jacket. It was a cheerleading jacket from the high school just across the state line of Virginia, the Red Raiders. And I remember all I saw was blonde hair, a red jacket, and this smile that was, even from a distance, just kind of electrifying to the heart, you know? About a minute later, the door to the sliding door to the deck opens, and this girl, she comes out by herself, and she's heading towards us. Turns out she's friends with Della Mae from back in the day, from, I don't know, Girl Scouts, Brownies, something like that. Anyways, she comes over, and she's so beautiful. I remember thinking to myself, and this is exactly word for word what I thought. I ain't even gonna bother talking to this girl. And she walks over and she says hello, and I just excuse myself right off the deck and head back inside because I'm fixing to say my goodbyes and skedaddle. Anyways, I try to leave, but then Jimmy handed me a beer and somebody else started passing a bottle of Rebel Yell, and before you know it, bomb hits and whatnot, and anyway. A little later, I'm on the couch when this girl, my future wife, she comes up to me and she says by herself, "I saw you in that play the other night. You made me cry." 2 days later, we went out on a date. On the way back, I was driving her home, and we passed by this house where my friend Dave Ho used to live, who had died. I haven't been by his house since he passed. The family didn't live there no more. But when I saw this house, I got struck with this feeling. And I just asked her if she wouldn't mind if we just pulled up in front of the house and just sat in the car for a moment. And she said sure, so I parked and we sat in the car for a while. Quiet. Not saying nothing. And before I knew it, Mr. Iscariot, I started tearing up because this kid, you know, he had been a real good friend of mine, and then I just started crying, Mr. Iscariot. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't shut it off. I was real embarrassed, and she just held me while tears and snot and whatnot just poured out of me and onto her little white sweater. And I didn't mind about that. I didn't mind at all. At some point, I drove her home, and we got to her door, and we started to kiss, and, well, God, it was like, I'll tell you, it was like peaches and dynamite. And before I left, I apologized to her about the crying and all, and she just said to me, "Don't be a jackass, Butch Honeywell." And then I smiled, but, you know, then I went on to explain my meaning, which was, if you want a girl to think you're sensitive, then maybe driving up to the house of your dead friend and crying all over her pretty white sweater might be a good way to pull it off. You know what she said to me, Mr. Iscariot? She looked at me for a good long while with them all the way dazzling eyes of hers, and she just said, "Well, if it was a trick, then I'm tricked." 3 years into our marriage, I took a job teaching at the state college. I was popular with the students because I found a way to make them want to learn. And one night, at the end of the semester, they took me out for beers. I ended up having an assignation with one of the co-eds, a young lady named Lucy. And I went home that night, drunk as a skunk, and got into my bed next to my wife. And I remember I was looking at her. I always liked to look at her when she was sleeping, because she always looked so good. I had a little nickname for her. I used to call her my little baby dinosaur. That's how she looked like when she slept, like one of those cute cartoon little baby dinosaurs, like a brontosaurus. Anyways, when I woke up the next morning, she was still sleeping. And what I had done the night before came back to me. And I was looking at my wife. She looked exactly the same as always. Somehow she wasn't my little baby dinosaur anymore, you know? And she woke up and she knew nothing about nothing. And everything was exactly the same as if the night before had never happened. But I knew that it changed. And I had no idea why I had done what I'd done. But I've done it. And it couldn't be changed. she got up and she fixed blueberry French toast with maple walnut pecans. I didn't eat it. No way I could have eaten it. Nothing was ever the same after that morning, Mr. Iscariot, you know. I tried a lot of things to make it better. The only thing that did was more beer and women. Do you know who W.H. Auden was, Mr. Iscariot? W.H. Auden was a poet who once said, "God may reduce you on Judgment Day to tears of shame, reciting by heart the poems you would have written had your laugh been good." She was my poem, Mr. Iscariot. Her and the kids, but mostly her. You cashed in silver, Mr. Iscariot, but me? I threw away gold.